buy some medicine and stuff, some meds when you get there. But almost all the surgical equipment, all the power equipment, all the gowns, and the stuff that goes into putting the surgery on was donated. You know, we calculated the number of people we're going to operate on, and then we calculated out just the amount of equipment, the amount of screws, the amount of cast material, and so we had to get a lot of donations from a lot of companies to do it. It just took a long time. You know, getting in this climate, in this economy, getting stuff is really hard. Money was the hardest, but even getting donations of goods was really tough. So that's what it all is.
Mission Peace is a coming together of caring and giving individuals who want to share their professional talents to make a difference in someone's life.
Hello, I'm Steve Warren.
My name is Teresa Pineda.
Clay Ballinger.
My name is Bruce Leonard.
Stacy Bauer, I'm a pediatric physical therapist.
Tina Ratto.
Jonah Mullen.
Jeffrey Spanko.
My name is Meir Niska.
My name is Amy Levin. I'm a speech-language pathologist.
I am the president and co-founder of Mission Peace, Inc.
I am a first-year podiatry resident.
Second-year surgical resident.
I've been an obstetrical nurse for about 27 years.
I've been a doctor of podiatric medicine for the past 23 years.
Live in San Francisco and I work at UCSF.
I was born in Israel.
I'm a podiatrist from San Francisco, California. I'm also a founding member and chief executive officer of Mission Peace Incorporated.
Rừng nối giang tay nối lại biển xa, ta đi vòng tay lớn mãi để nối sơn hà. Măng đất treo leo, anh em ta về cùng nhau xây đắp mái nắm tay. Miền xanh sông gấm nối lại một vùng Việt Nam. Cờ nối gió đêm vui nối ngày, dòng máu nối con tim đồng loài. Dừng tình người trong ngày mới, thành phố nối thôn xa phơi phới. Người chết nối linh thiêng vào đời và tình người nở trên môi.
I've only been to the Bahamas. I went down there on a vacation with my family. And then I've been to Canada, Niagara Falls, and that's the only place that I've been to outside of the United States. Words can't even describe what I'm seeing now. Just like, wow. Just trying to take it all in and absorb everything. I would imagine the living conditions would be totally different. I would imagine transportation will be totally different. I don't know if there'll be scooters. I don't know what it'll be like. I didn't even know what I was getting involved in. I just wanted to go.
Canada is about 100 kilometers away, and that translates to about a 3 to 3.5 hour drive.
We've never worked with Mission Peace before, but working in an operating room with the surgeons, it's a familiar thing to us because we do that at home. So we're going to be the head nurses of the operating room in Canada.
Tina's the head nurse.
Well, I'm the head nurse.
I'm the staff.
You're the assistant.
I refuse to join administration.
Well, we're going to be both of us are going to be the
The fact that people trust you enough to allow you to completely cut them open, break their bones, cut their tendons, put foreign materials in them. And it's a job, it's what you do every day. You don't really think about it all the time, but every once in a while you just stop and kind of take it all in and think there's people who go through their whole lives who don't understand what goes on in an operating room. So it's a pretty big deal. It's a lot of responsibility.
I've been coming here since 1998. And while some of the buildings look newer, the gestalt, the overall step back and take a look picture of it all is the same. It's unchanged. I wouldn't quite call it home, but it's someplace familiar like home.
My veterans group, which is Vietnam Veterans of America, had found out that there were doctors traveling to Vietnam and doing foot and ankle surgery on the Vietnamese. My veterans group decided to help support Dr. Bruce Leonard during his first trip to Vietnam in 1998. We contributed money. We helped him with his create a website, and did what little we could to support his efforts.
So here we are. We're almost to our final destination, We've made our way by motor bus down through the Mekong Delta, through Saigon, and we're about to cross one of the Mekong River deltas where we'll get to our final destination of Canton.
I think it's a good sign that one of the patients from the past 2 years' mom comes running up to greet us and finds us in the crowd and gives us a hug.
It's kind of exhilarating, you know. I got chills right now. It's great, yeah. It's a good way to start the day.
To me, Mission Peace is an idea, a concept, or a vehicle. During the year, we're a nonprofit organization that sort of is the focal point for gathering material and funding so that we can do this. Then Mission Peace starts to build steam as we pick a date and plan for one of these medical missions. And it becomes a goal to gather supplies and raise money to build towards a specific mission. Finally, Mission Peace becomes the 2-week journey that we have here and the preparation for the surgery, the actual examining of the patients, the screening process, the choice of procedures, culminating in the actual surgery itself, and then finally the donating to the hospital the equipment and supplies that we have used but brought to leave here for them.
They tell us there's about 50 patients today. We're going to examine them as a group so that we can get some consensus as to what needs to be done. And when the operations come, we're going to break off into different groups. So it's important that we all examine each and every patient, have a good understanding, and have input as to what procedure, if any, is going to be performed. Anterior tib 0. Tell him to bring his toes up. Anterior tib.
It's a very complicated case, but still, here you see it a lot.
Alex is 5, EDL 5. Bring his foot out.
In Israel, you cannot see such patients anymore. This is a neglected case.
0 on the push down.
What we have to do here, because he's walking on his forefoot and on his side, and he's grown up, we have to stabilize correctly his hind foot. And when we stabilize his hind foot and elongating the Achilles tendon, which is very short, he will be 90 degrees on the ground.
So when he was 4 years old, he had an attack of polio.
I will say
you can see here he's got bilateral deformities as well as upper extremity involvement.
Polio has been treated in the first world starting in the late 1950s and early 60s, and Vietnam has only in the past decade really started an organized program for treating polio. And so for that reason, here in this sort of third world underdeveloped country, there are many people from children right up to adults who suffer the sequelae of polio. And for myself as a foot and ankle surgeon, again, one of the great things that I've discovered is my skills can really make a difference in people's lives, because polio affects someone's entire body, but there's a large number of patients who have lower extremity deformities that keep them from walking.
Can you tell this gentleman that he is an ideal patient for us to operate on because of his deformity is relatively easy for us to correct. But if we do both at the same time, he's not going to be able to walk at all for 2 months. He's going to be in cast for 2 months. So the option is we can do one at a time or do both.
So you need to choose.
Yes.
In
order to evaluate something that's 3-dimensional using something that's 2-dimensional, like an X-ray, you have to have 2 views. So you get a view that's lateral view coming from the side, and then one coming in from the top and the bottom. And that way you can kind of get a spatial orientation of what's going on. Good.
My dad is a podiatrist, my grandfather was a podiatrist, and I'm now in my first year of residency in San Diego at Scripps Mercy Residency Program. It's a 3-year program. I don't know exactly what my specialty within podiatry is going to be when I'm finished. All I know is I just want to be very good at what I do. So whatever that takes, you know, coming on these medical missions, doing a fellowship, whatever it takes. I just want to be good at what I do, so I know that I'm doing right by the patients.
And Steve, tell him to keep that card for all his x-rays and lab tests, so he has to keep that.
We're screening all the people that have come from all over the countryside.
And then we realized that the people who were denied surgery last year should be allowed first, so we changed the way we're going to allow people to come up.
Number 4, it's actually kind of frightening how quickly you can create an entire bureaucracy. We've managed to do it in a matter of hours.
This is going pretty well so far. We're very pleased with our team. Our physical therapist, Stacy, has done an absolutely wonderful job of taking care of examining the patients and giving us feedback on what she thinks is happening, as well as being able to make a plan for the non-operative patients. So we haven't really had to turn away anybody and say there's no hope.
There's been 2 cases that aren't surgical cases, but kids that I can help with some more therapy-related treatments. So that's been really nice to be able to have that impact.
Feeling the pressure, getting a little tired, and all that thought. But we've already got 3 or 4 patients scheduled after examining maybe 6 or 7. So the Vietnamese doctors have really done a nice job of screening out what's appropriate for a surgical intervention. So how many cases did we schedule for the first 3 days? 12?
Yes.
4 each day.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and 1. These are all the bone cases. This is the easier one except for 1.
Bone cases?
Yes, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And that's the order you want them in?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29 cases. 1 more than we thought.
We can see it now very nice when we watch the television again. We haven't seen it so nice when we were in the clinic, but now it's much better. You can evaluate it step by step and see exactly how it goes. Now she clears off the toe from the floor.
Happy mission keys. The first day of actual work began.
It went well. I salute the fine doctors, the excellent nurses, the physical therapy people for a job well started.
Right now we're struggling a little bit because we don't have the key to the lock for our storage equipment. Today is the day that we're supposed to start setting up instruments. So deciding what we can do about getting a bolt cutter to go right through the lock there. Back-to-back typhoons hitting the Mekong Delta right off the coast of Vietnam right now in the South China Sea. So we'll see what kind of mess we get ourselves into after a day or two of rain. When we arrive at the hospital, we bring a number of supplies that are clean, but they're not sterile. They're not suitable for immediate use in the operation. So once we get to our storage room, as it's called, our place where we keep our inventory, we then organize this room into different areas, almost like a warehouse. Then we bring the equipment that needs to be sterilized to the central sterilization area. It's all labeled, organized, put into an autoclave. So here we are in sterile supply. What we're basically going to do is organize our instruments that need to be sterilized for surgery and then put them into packs so they're prepared for tomorrow.
My name is Tan. I'm a doctor. I'm from USC Medicine and Pharmacy, and now I work for this hospital. Yes, I specialize in orthopedics. I'm very happy to work with business. I work with business 3 times.
We're separating all the instruments here so that we can make complete sets instead of just having a big pile of chaos. We want to make sure we have scissors, pickups, rongeurs, curettes to scrape off cartilage. Then we'll break it down into different sets and then sterilize it as a set so that we're good to go for each case.
Juan, who's a specialist in everything from orthopedics, plastic surgery, vascular surgery, everything. He's one of the few doctors after the event of 1975 that was able to do all different kinds of surgery. So he's kind of the boss of the hospital, and he has a little trick that he can do for us.
Tôi là bác sĩ Lê Thái Hoàng, trưởng khoa ngoại chấn thương của bệnh viện Đa khoa Cần Thơ. Tôi làm việc ở đây là 21 năm và chuyên ngành về chấn thương chỉnh hình của bệnh viện Đa khoa Cần Thơ và giảng dạy trường đại học Y Cần Thơ. Năm nay là 20 năm. Và hôm nay tôi được gặp cái đoàn phẫu thuật Hoa Kỳ qua đây. Thì đoàn đã mổ không lấy tiền cho bệnh nhân, đã giúp được rất nhiều người nghèo, rồi giải quyết được rất nhiều những cái bệnh mà ở đây chưa giải quyết được. Và đoàn đã làm hết sức mình. Tôi rất lấy làm mừng vì đây là một cái dịp để trao đổi khoa học và giúp đỡ lẫn nhau trong chuyên môn và giúp đỡ bệnh nhân. Và đặc biệt là giúp đỡ các nước đang trong thời kỳ phát triển. Giúp đỡ rất là tận tình của bệnh viện đây, cho nên mong rằng đoàn hàng năm mới trở lại với chúng tôi là một cái điều rất hạnh phúc.
This isn't willy-nilly stuff. This is intense. You got to come here and in 2 days, because you got to remember this is a 2-week program. In 2 days, these doctors have seen 59 patients, have decided whether they could help those patients or not, have asked the patient, do you want me to do this? And now they have 7 days to do as many operations as they can do, and 1 day to see what the results are. And then they're not going to see these people again for maybe a year or so. It's the only way to get that done is with intensity, and you gotta care about what's going on. I'm just proud of it. I think that's the best thing I can say.
I love you, Pop.
I love you too, yeah.
So I think most of our surgery is either bone surgery designed to make a more solid and stable platform and extremity, or soft tissue where we take tendons that might be overpowering a group of tendons that aren't functioning and putting them in a position where they can help someone's foot function more normally. So we're sort of taking the disadvantage that the patient's disease has given them and try to turn it into a mechanical advantage so that they can walk and stand more efficiently.
In my department, I can see such a patient with severe deformity few times in a year or even less. But here, every day, we do the most difficult cases with the most severe deformities. People who hardly can walk, and then we can correct them.
These guys are set up to do 2 operations a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And if you watch them work, the intensity, you can understand why they couldn't possibly do more than 2. It's just too much.
I think the most satisfying surgery that we get to perform are people that have what appears to be, to put it in non-medical terms, sort of a clubfoot deformity, where their foot is sort of bent inward and turned, and it makes them either walk on the side of their foot or not be able to walk at all.
He's walking on the most outside portion of his foot and has developed a big, what we call a bursa there, from the chronic irritation of walking on the side of his foot.
And to take someone with this level of disabling deformity and actually correct it where their foot sits on the ground like their other foot, or sometimes some of the patients both feet are that way and have never been able to walk and have to be carried or walk on their knees. So to give them a stable foot that they can stand and walk on, that's an incredibly dramatic change.
So what we're going to do in this operation is fuse his ankle joint, the joint below the ankle, and 2 other joints in his foot. We'll be able to get him in a straight position. Unfortunately, it will be fused and not movable, but the bright side is this is fused and not movable now. So he'll have something that he can walk on that's flat, both easier for him to walk on and culturally significant.
Coming to Vietnam for me was to, at first, just satisfy some selfish desires. I really enjoyed the country, I enjoyed the people, I enjoyed the scenery, I enjoyed traveling. Then there's also the nursing part of it, and I think nursing is really global. You can take it anywhere. You can use all your skills with or without equipment, with or without the capability of having the language of the people, and being a nurse anywhere is fun.
Just a scared 14-year-old.
One of my duties in life, mainly since I became a chairman of orthopedic surgery, but even before this, is to teach residents how to operate. And I think that's one of the honors and even pleasure is to try to give my knowledge to the residents and to see how they can apply it. And if they apply it as I want it, and they are skilled enough to do it better than me, this can be the most satisfactory thing in life. Or to see your pupils that are doing things that you want to do, but they are doing it better than you. Cannot be more than this. Gives a lot of satisfaction.
I have been a pediatric physical therapist since I was 22 when I got out of PT school, and have been doing this for about 11 and a half years. Once I got into PT school and learned everything that I could do with the kids, it just grabbed me in and said this is what I should do. And so my job is at our hospital is I am a senior physical therapist that half my time is spent treating patients and half my time is spent mentoring and teaching our staff and teaching students and program development and giving lectures, and I do a lot of speaking within the Chicagoland area on cerebral palsy and the management of it, especially from an orthopedic perspective. Start here. This is a little boy who has really a lot of weakness in his trunk and in his abdominal muscles. So what we use is this tape, it's called kinesio tape, to help us simulate the function of the muscle, to give him better awareness of his body as well as better awareness of the muscle activity. So it's a nice adjunctive treatment to what we do. So we're going to try it with him.
For me, I think Mission Peace is an opportunity for people that are coming from outside of Vietnam to really start to get a picture of what's happening here and how this country is changing and developing. And also really seizing the opportunity to go ahead and be a part of that process in a very positive way. So a chance to impact the lives of kids and their families, which is also something that I feel like is an important part of my job every day.
I usually think of like 10 different movements, like eat, drink, sleep. We do this for more.
Like the fact that kids with Down syndrome tend to be very socially attuned, it gives them a lot of motivation to communicate. Although cognitively, they tend to start speaking later or using entire words later, but they're very motivated to communicate. So we try and encourage other ways to try and communicate. So one of the things that I'm going to try and give them some ideas for are just some manual type of signs that they can start to teach him with his hands, so he can communicate and not be frustrated, and then also more that he can communicate successfully in any way, the more motivated he'll be to continue to try to communicate using sounds and using words.
The second aspect of Mission Peace is our humanitarian effort. What I do when I'm here, I visit schools and speak to children. I visit orphanages. Been to quite a number of schools over the years that we visited here. This is a new school this year. A lot of the orphanages, some of the schools, you'll have a pond like this that runs around an area, and they all farm fish. So it's not. I mean, it's a pond maybe for effect, but it's really a pond where they're growing food. There's banana trees. And I'm not sure what these other trees are. There's some kind of a fruit, I think.
I don't say the now in English. Mais en français, pamplemousse en français, pamplemousse.
They have pigs. They grow rice. And they'll have the coconuts. Probably the ones we're drinking out of came from off the ground here on campus. So they do raise a lot of their food in places like this. My icon is making a presentation of $100 to the sister to help the students in the class with their books and their needs for the class, so they can keep continuing their education for at least a little while longer. When I was growing up, my mother was a nursery school director, and I sung nursery school songs all my life. The little teapot song is always a fun one because everyone can become a teapot. Everyone has a handle and everybody has a spout, and we can all tip ourselves over to pour ourselves out. And the Vietnamese understand drinking tea better than we do. So I thought that little song kind of fit the cultures. It's something that could kind of links the two cultures in a little fun little way. The classrooms we're in are charity classes. Those are the students whose parents have no money. I think it's 5 or 6 different class levels going on in that room at the same time, but still children here are being given a chance at education that normally would just be on the street kicking coconut husks around and getting nowhere with their young selves. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing that's happening here for for some charity cases. So that's why we're here. That's why we're visiting today. That's part of Mission Peace.
surgery. And because he's the resident, I was teasing him and saying, come on, just finish it, you could do it. You gotta work under adversity. And then just as we got to the end, he collapsed, and I felt sort of guilty, like I drove him to oblivion.
You okay, buddy?
So I think we're gonna start an IV and give him some fluids and let him rest a little bit. And
you got a belt?
Try to perk him back up.
This is just gonna sting a little. We'll just show you that the germ theory isn't real. Dr. Long saved the day.
This is my duty.
It is my duty. He has a good heart.
One time we were doing a bilateral operation, meaning we were working on both feet at the same time. One doc was on one foot, one doc was on the other foot, and the power went out in the operating rooms, completely pitch black. So
here our power's gone out.
the other Vietnamese nurses went and grabbed the lights, and we were standing there with these little battery handheld lights, holding them up for the procedure to be completed. It lasted for about 5-10 minutes. The lights were out, and then it came back on for a minute, and then we put everything away, and then out went the lights again. So we came back with the lights and put them back up, and it lasted another few minutes. But it actually happened pretty smoothly. We were able to keep on going with the case, but it was an interesting situation.
We're starting to overcome the biggest hurdle, that is the language barrier. When we first arrived in Vietnam, simple communication was very difficult, as we did not have the type of translation that is necessary to perform medical procedures. As time has gone on, we've honed our process, and we found a couple of excellent translators who, over the past year, have learned medical and technical terminology. This has made our process a lot easier.
I'm Thùy, a liaison between Mission Peace America and Mission Peace Vietnam.
Mổ xong thì anh phải bó bột.
Working with the Mission Peace, it is a little bit hard for me because I need to understand a new culture, American culture, and also the Vietnamese culture. So I need to help them to understand each other. This is my second time to work with the Mission Peace. Last time I spent 4 last days. This time I work with them from the beginning to the end of the mission.
Like all those folks down there are sitting outside the rooms of their family members, and they're just waiting and looking in and making sure that they're, doing well. So, kind of wow.
This is our world. I mean, we spend all year, and in this case, a little over a year, making everything happen so that we can come here and do our thing with, the 30 to 40 people that we decide to, that we can help.
Emergency room. In my spare time, I enjoy art, drawing, music, and I view surgery in some ways as an extension of that, as a artistic endeavor. So for me, that's my pleasure, is I get a chance to be an artist in a medical way.
It's been
so incredible. It's just a good feeling to wrap up, to give out the rest of our supplies, and it's also pretty tiring too. It takes a lot of mental strength and physical strength as well. So it's been great though.
If I was asked to return, I'd come back in a second, without a doubt.
I think one of the things that I will take home with me is just a real sense of perspective. Perspective in the sense of making it easier for me to think about what I can realistically do in any given amount of time or in any kind of given situation.
We have the good fortune of seeing our patients when we do our screening for this year's surgery. We've seen our patients from the past, and we've been able to ask them, how has this surgery affected your lives? And to see that they've been able to get out into the community and be with their family or go to school, that's just by far the most satisfying and dramatic change I've seen.
It's the second time that I'm now in the Mission Peace. 2 years ago I was the first time seeing now the patients that walk almost normally with plantigrade foot and without crutches and without severe deformities, and being able to move much faster and with a much less energy, it makes terrific feeling. And I'm just very happy that I'm part in this mission.
I think perspective is a huge thing that's going to go home with me. I think also just getting a greater global perspective on the world and people, and just walking down the street and seeing children play exactly the same games that children in America play just looks a little different. Some of the experiences I've had here are exactly what we do at home. It's no different.
And I think the questions we hear from parents here are the same as the questions that we hear at home. And that
walk, will they talk, will they be independent?
Yep, it's just really similar. It's just been an amazing kind of bridge in that sense.
Probably the biggest reason why I come here is there is a situation for me that I can come and make a difference. I firmly believe that if everybody in the world was to give more than they take, we'd have a much happier, safer, more equitable planet.
Knowing that in a very short amount of time and in a very difficult and trying situation, there are things that you can change, and there are strides that can be made, and just really trying to take that into seemingly impossible situations once I get back home, kind of recognizing that they probably aren't so impossible.
When I leave the hospital each and every day, I'm very grateful that that day's work is finished. I tend to be tired, sore, sweaty, but also very satisfied that the day has gone as well as it has.
về bên Ninh Kiều thấy nàng đời người yêu. Em xinh tươi với chiếc áo bà ba, em đi mau kéo chế chiến phà em đến Cần Thơ. Cần Thơ. That's like excellent, excellent.
Giang tay nối lại biển xa, ta đi vòng tay lớn mãi để nối sơn hà.